This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Outdoor Pro Shop, LLC. Outdoor Pro Shop is a family-owned and operated firearms dealer and sporting goods retailer. They have pay-over-time options, a rewards program, and customer service satisfaction that is unmatched. They might not be the biggest, but they strive to be the best. Contact them today at 240-360-1298 or visit them on the web at www.outdoor-pro-shop.com. That's Outdoor Pro Shop, 240-360-1298. Folks, 2023 has come and gone. What a year it has been. Through all the ups and downs, technical issues, but most of all, thanks for being there with us, and thanks for your support, listens, and shares, and comments. Keep them coming in 2024. If you haven't already joined us on the journey as we bring the deer camp, hunting camp experience to you through God, family, country, and everything outdoors, join us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. We're there. Enjoy this mashup that we've created with all of our great guests over the time there in 2023. So, folks, I think you're going to enjoy this, and thanks again for listening. Happy New Year, everyone. It's going to be our first full season, actually. So, last year we started season 1. That started in September 19th, right before bow season here in West Virginia. And that, I mean, it went really well for us. You know, we flowed right with the seasons and the hunting, and from archery into gun season, and then we started, you know, having guests on. I mean, I think everything flowed really well, and I'm hoping that we can do the same thing this second season.
It's about getting youngins out. You know, there's a kind of a, I don't know, off-color joke, I guess you'd call it, comment made in Vermont this year. There's over 100,000 rifles walking through the woods and ain't one of them did any wrong. You know, I honestly think that if conservation and proper technique and the right way to do things was taught, then there'd be a lot less of this violence, you know, that we're seeing nowadays.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, y'all probably remember when I went to school, it was nothing to go duck hunting before you went to first class, you know, and you left your shotgun in the back window of the truck and locked it. You know?
Yep.
It's not that many years ago.
And the second thing is, you know, we might start looking into an education component. And the vision there is we now have this platform that's getting quite popular, and it has the power of really bringing in anglers into the community, into the industry, and actually educating them along the way. So think of, like, in the last 4 years, we've seen this huge boom in people hitting the stream. Can Trout Route be this potential resource that educates these newcomers on how to be good stewards of these fisheries?
Friday, there was lines of people. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, they didn't have any empty booths. There was over 160 vendors there. So, you know, this year it got sponsored by Cabela's.
I tell everybody all the time, you know, one of the biggest pieces of what I want to do with Hunt Chef is, you know, help kids, new hunters, late adult onset hunters, you know, understand that the kill, the harvest, the chase is amazing, and there's nothing like it. But
yeah,
once you bring that harvest, break it down yourself, clean it yourself, vacuum seal it, freeze it, get it out, and then make it a delicious deal on the plate, and help kids understand, make that connection. Okay, I took this life, I took it apart, I cooked it, I ate it, and it's delicious.
You know, arguably the wild turkey is the greatest conservation story that's ever been told. And, you know, it was done by, you know, our partnerships with DNRs and, you know, whatever that organization or that agency may be called in your state, you know, West Virginia's DNR, Virginia's DWR, you know, our partnerships with them to put turkeys back on the landscape, and then just all the great things volunteers just did, you know, raising money and do these outreach events. So, yeah, it's going to be one heck of a party.
Looking in a mirror, I was able to see how my tongue formed a little air channel. I'm like, oh, well, I wonder if this is something that's just pertains to me, or is this how all callers that are, on the competition level, the ones that can call really well with the mouth call, is this what's happening in their mouth also?
Yeah.
So I went and when I went to Grand Nationals down there to compete, I talked to some of the, the champion callers and, the top tier callers, and some of them were willing to, call them
preference. With all that said, some guys will just say, hey, I'm going to go elk hunting here in 5 or 6 years. I'll just buy some preference points. So it's time to go hunting. They've already got it. So some people do that, but what I think a lot of misconception is a lot of people will think, okay, well, an antelope area may need 3 preference points. So I have to wait 3 years to get that, accumulate my points. That's not always the case.
People hunt a lot, with open sight rifles, because the range of shooting even is just not, that of, necessarily warranting even scopes at all. Because we talk about this all the time, guiding up here is like, what's the longest shot you've ever taken in Maine? And I was like, I think the longest shot I've ever taken at any game animal was like 120 yards and happened to
We're going to be set up right in the turkey section. So this is a big sale that they've got going on. It's the Spring Fishing Classic is this one. Then they're going to have another one on March the 18th, which will also feature turkey. But we're going to do a little mix of turkey hunting and fishing stuff both while we're there on Saturday. But March the 9th through the 29th is this sale that's going on at Cabela's. So you got...
Well, the Spring Fishing Classic, that's our biggest sale of the beginning of the year here. And we have 45 pages of sale pricing items there in the tab. So you can pull that up. We have them in here at store. So when you get in store, you can go to customer service, grab one of those. But the Spring Fishing Classic is always an exciting event. So right now, we're starting it off. We got some demos, some seminars going on.
And from there, it's just exploded. And now we are 99% of all of the camo in Bass Pro and Cabela stores. You can find us, like we were talking about earlier, you can find us in every department.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's trucker hats in the aisle, to tracker off-road units, to bedding, everything in between. So we are very proud and privileged to work so closely with them.
What I do is I will help customers, as they're looking for products for different techniques, and just try to assist them in getting the products that they need. If they have questions about rods, reels, like different gear ratios, what techniques are used for specific rods and reels, what baits that they need, what types of weights or hooks or anything like that. Try to help them with.
Man, that's awesome to have somebody.
After that, they kind of gave up on it. But then in the 70s, they decided, the California Fish and Game decided they would try it one more time. And they went to Texas and Kansas and got a bunch of Rios and turned them loose over on the Central Coast and here in the Central Valley. And the Rios acted like they had never left Texas. And they just flourished. And now they are everywhere.
Craig's probably killed more turkey with his call than he has his gun, I tell you.
That's funny. I know plenty of people like that would rather be in the experience and call for the other people than to hunt themselves. They get more of an excitement out of that than they do hunting themselves.
To be fair, the only bird I killed last year, it was my mistake. It kind of happened fast. We are running gun mostly, and
starting July 1st, and then of course they repeat, so we're on for 26 weeks on the Sportsman's Channel the rest of the year. And even during that time, as our hunts are being filmed, Wyatt's editing them and putting them up live on our YouTube and our Facebook so that people can see them right there. And it definitely, it's hard, and it's difficult for us to do it. It's a lot of work, but it's a good thing because for all of our partners, they get immediate feedback. If somebody sees us using a certain scent or whatever product it is, a broadheaded bow,
definitely a few on the land. There was 3 or 4 probably together
I swear one of them gobbled 6 times in a row. He just, you could tell it was him, and he was hammering, and then, the other ones would go and gobble in the background, but he went 6 times, and I was like a kid in a candy store. And people start, and then I'm not knocking a company that's been around since 1978, because I wouldn't knock something that I liked enough to buy, because eventually I ended up buying Southland. But people think that, the Southland was a special call, and it was a special company. But when he was getting his pots, seed outsourcing stuff, just like you did in the mouth calls in the very beginning.
Yep.
I didn't like that, but that's the way the company was set up. I eventually went to wanting to hand turn some stuff when I bought the company to put me in another league, to take Southland to another level, which it worked.
Well, the SCTP it's a shotgun organization for youth. There's thousands of organizations, clubs across the country. The name of our club is the Mountaineer Clay Crushers. It's a nonprofit organization, 501(c) status.
Awesome.
And we have practices every other week for children, which is our 3rd year. We sent youth to the nationals, SCTP nationals, and the regionals, and we've done quite well sometimes.
The National Shooting Sports and the NRA sort of got together, late fall, early winter, start talking about this, and then when the session came up in West Virginia, Riley Moore, who was the state treasurer of West Virginia, put together a bill that essentially said that you could not. You couldn't search anyone unless you had a warrant. So Treasurer Moore was trying to protect not only your Second Amendment rights, but also your Fourth Amendment rights, which is essentially a protection from illegal searches and seizures. So Second Amendment.
Long story short, I knew I wanted to be in the hunting industry and got a minor in marketing while I was at Clemson, and my first job out of college was with Avery Outdoors, and that led me to becoming a pseudo deer biologist, and with a group that's no longer. It merged with another group. It's called the Quality Deer Management Association.
Just get on that,
Yeah. So I was a pseudo deer biologist and helped throw events and fundraisers there, and then got recruited by an up and coming company out of Baltimore, Maryland, that was getting in the hunting industry called Under Armour. So I was the first hire for Under Armour's Hunt Fish side. And, that was a pretty wild, fun ride for 7.5 years. And
I bet it was.
Got really homesick, missing the South, living in downtown Baltimore, Maryland, and went to work with a bunch of friends at Mossy Oak Brand Camo. And while I was there, we came up with the grand idea of starting a T-shirt company on the fishing side of the business.
About the time we sat there and stopped, we had 2 hens. Fly off the roost.
Flew right off the roost.
Right above us.
Oh man!
I mean, it was still dark. It was only 5:35 at most.
5
that time.
probably.
Yeah.
And at the time, we didn't know whether it was hens or whether it was gobblers.
Right. Yeah, couldn't see us.
So we were just hoping that it was hens, and then we find out after the hunt that it had to have been hens.
Well, when I started in '96, so the first foundation that a driver had ever done, so I was learning literally from the seat of my britches. What we certainly know is a lot different from youth today versus my generation anyway, is a lot of times the youth today did not have a granddad or a dad or some role model that took them in the outdoors and showed them just and exposed them to all the wonders and the joys that the woods and the natural resources have in store for a kid. So our kids now so many have got nature deficit disorder. They just don't have a clue.
We won the college state championship, which is just was in West Virginia actually on Stonewall Jackson. We had probably one of the best expeditions we ever had during a tournament, which doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a little bit about that tournament. How many pounds did you all end up with, and everything?
So we ended the tournament with 22 pounds, 3 ounces.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, We had in our bag, we had 2 fish that were over 6.5 pounds, which is trophy size for West Virginia.
But again, I was only thinking I'd kill 2 or 3 birds. So I'm like, I'll just put the fans, in my gun case and do that. But I had to go to Walmart and buy a carry-on bag to put all the fans and beards and spurs in. No, I didn't have, my suitcase and gun case, it would fit. So I'm like, well, Elta gives me a carry-on. I don't have a carry-on, so I'm going to go get a bag and put all, a small suitcase and just put them in that.
That's funny.
But yeah, the guy,
expedite the process because years ago, when I was probably 17, 18 years old, I bought a long gun and I got flagged. I'm like, well, why did I get flagged? I have nothing wrong. But there was a Dan Hall that had blown up a porta potty and oh my gosh. I found this out.
It was you, wasn't it?
No.
There was a Dan Hall.
Grantsville, West Virginia.
Nobody really knew who I was, really, so I didn't have to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, I got plenty of time to do everything. and,
Yeah.
But then that first day weighing in, once you get up on that stage, it really hits you.
One of the guys here with me this week, his name is Michael Sargent. He's back here. He's our assistant program lead here in Lewisburg. Last year at the muskie tournament, he caught his first ever muskie.
Oh, man.
I think it was, I don't want to say wrong because he'll cut me off at the knees, 38.5 inches. Might have been 39 and a half.
That's a good on a fly rod. That's awesome.
That was awesome, right? So it'll make you want to take back stuff you didn't use steel boys, I'm telling you.
Big guy, you're one of those suckers. Your knees go weak and everything.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we get a pretty awesome opportunity.
Everybody's got their own title for it, but we just call it tight line because we don't fish it on the bottom like a jig. We want it to free fall like on a pendulum. And we want to do what we call surf the rocks. We don't want it to, if you're banging the rocks and getting hung up, you're going too slow. And if you're never hitting the bottom, you're going too fast. And we're trying to catch those fish that are up suspended in the water column, not eating on the bottom or on top water, but definitely suspended, and it's deadly in the wintertime.
Well, our founder, Ed, he's told this story a couple times. It's a pretty cool story. He was undergoing treatment. He was a captain in the Navy and was undergoing treatment and walked the rig and walked by an individual. Obviously needed some help. Took the veteran out back, taught him how to cast a fly. And then next thing you know, more people started coming at his weekly doctor's appointment. More people started showing up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah, this ain't a baby doll show.
No, not a baby doll show. But so you do some fishing there. He gives you some lessons, old Cliff Pace.
Oh yeah, I get out there in the water with Bass Pro, Cliff Pace. I try to help him out best I can. He's a good old boy. We get out there. I hooked him though once. I hooked him with a treble in the arm, and we still friends after that.
Yeah. Well, he's got to love you if you're friends after that.
These will get their goodie bags from, like I said, from Savage and Loophole and Newmont.
Yeah.
Hornady and, all these guys. But I'll ask the class, and I'll ask you guys, I'll ask you listeners. If you guys are doing a live chat, I'll say, you're being dropped in the middle of the Colorado wilderness, and you're in Alaska. What do you think is the most important thing? The one most important thing that you have on you that could save your life? And people will raise their hand and they'll say, well, it's my rifle.
Another big thing that you all have coming up is your Fall Hunting Classic coming up next month.
Yes, so we're very excited about that. That's coming up here in August, and we're supposed to have a good amount of vendors there for that as well. We're hoping to get a bunch of brand representatives down here able to talk about, whether it comes to supplements even.
Okay.
We've reached out to Mount Ops, and I know that I've talked to them before, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to come down and talk about, Ignite some of their stuff. If you're doing a day trip out in the middle of the woods to hunt, you need stuff to help keep you going.
Oh yeah.
Golf has always been a very serious game, and it's got a great deal of etiquette about it, it's really, you think about all the different sports that are out there, it's one that's really maintained a lot of that. But you got a little rock and roll element kind of sneaking in there with Live too, which is going to kind of ramp it up. I mean, they got DJs on different holes, live music, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think it's going to bring some new blood and some new. But I'll tell you what,
I've been extremely proud of not only our recreational anglers, but our guides as well, and self-imposing some limits and, conservation-minded stuff. We're not trying to keep anybody from keeping fish. We just want to see the fishery sustained for our kids and our grandkids. The days of, it used to be evaluated on success when you go out on a charter is that you caught your limit of trout or your limit of redfish.
Yeah.
Well, it's 15 per person in Georgia over 14 inches.
The property that is owned by the DNR, and it is leased to the State Rifle and Pistol Association.
Okay.
And is subleased to Whitehorse with the agreement that they maintain a public shooting range.
Okay.
So Whitehorse maintains a public shooting range for the West Virginia DNR, and every day that it is open, Whitehorse has a range watcher there, somebody to make sure it maintains safety.
Wow, that's awesome.
By volunteers.
Hunting arrow, we do a 204, which is our best seller, the Rain hunting arrow, and then we do a micro diameter .166 called the Tomahawk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do y'all do, which ones with your competition shooters? Do y'all do a competition?
We do. We got one called the Endeavor 23. It's a 23 series target shaft. PSC pro shooter Dan Jaza, who I'm pretty good friends with, he helped us out with the name on that. Okay, cool. And stuff.
Yeah, so what it really did is it formed a task force with a bunch of Department of Interior people, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, a lot of people from the VA, from like senators, congressmen, serve on various like veterans-related committees, and they meet once a quarter, I want to say. Their biggest, so they're just now, whatever we are, 3 years later, really get into like the meat and potatoes. Like, hey, what are your results? How many people are you taking a year? What is the most valuable? What's the least valuable? Just trying to gather data.
Favorite bait is whichever one they'll bite. That's the one I'm the most interested in.
So do you have one on the throw first?
Is it fun to catch them on a crankbait? You hear a lot of people talk about how fun it is to get them on top water.
Yeah.
Man, it's fun to me to catch them on anything. Yeah. Well, here. But I do really like fishing a crankbait. I did growing up here in South Mississippi. We have a lot of, I'm in the very bottom of Mississippi, so I'm fishing a lot of tidal.
Oh, there's plenty of time. It just gets better and better as the season gets going. I mean, we still have some deer and velvet. We still have some bachelor grooves. You know what I mean? A few, some shed the velvet already. But now's the time that you want to establish your scrape. And it goes hand in hand. You want to do that while you set your stand. Sure. The way I like to do it, you got your spot, say it's on an oak flat or...
When we told a lot of these kids that they could come here and not only shoot, but be involved in a program that would happen in the outdoors, and they would get to go on every year, a fishing trip every year and things like that. The attention we got was just out of this world. I've gotten resumes, emails. It's just been crazy going through all that stuff. And we obviously want to find some talented shooters,
and we ended up taking over 500 calls in the state of West Virginia. Just the first year, and it's just grown steadily ever since. Last year we took 2,500 calls, so it just keeps growing. We've expanded our business. We have over approaching 30 trackers now in 9 different states that work for us, and these are all quality men and some women out there that are.
So what do you get for the $50?
Chance in the main drawing. You're going to start at noon. Draw a ticket every 5 minutes till 6 o'clock at night. So basically, at $5.50, that ticket drawing is going to be worth $10,000 in cash.
So that's the last ticket drawing.
At $5.55, that ticket drawing is going to be worth $15,000 in cash. That's 72 prizes.
well, listen, I kind of like wine, but I really like craft beer. She goes, perfect. I want to have a craft beer section. So
good.
I have managed to grow my craft beer corner that she gave me and multiply that by 3. So now it's about half the store. So
yeah, I'm glad it's expanded.
Exactly. Yeah, me too.
Great selection.
Thank you. We fit over 150 craft beers between crafts and imports in there. I really try and focus on our local breweries here in West Virginia just because we love to shop small, we love to shop local, support local.
One project I was real proud of with Onyx Hunt Maps, it's called Appalachia. You know, I've always wanted to do a film that represented kind of our heritage of hunting in the mountains of West Virginia.
Yeah, I see that.
And I got an opportunity to do that film with Onyx, and man, it just, the guys that did that, Day 6 Outdoors and Land Media, man, those guys, Adam and Jacob just crushed it. So, yeah.
Bow hunting, that's just an adrenaline rush to shoot a big old buck or even a turkey without a blind, call him up at 10, 12 yards and bust him on video, self them with a bow. That's the ultimate rush to me, with no blind to be able to get a mature gobbler in. So I hunt bow only. I mean, I'm just, not only, like you guys said, I was founder of the Obsession, but I've been a diehard bow hunter. So,
and those turkeys, I mean, we could hear them. They were thundering down the hollers, and we had 3 or 4 really nice gobblers come in, and they were all kind of lined up in a row, and so I didn't have a shot, and I already had my bow pulled back, and I held it back for 51 seconds before I let go.
Wow. Hey, that's awesome. That's pretty good.
My shoulder was hurting just watching.
I guarantee it. But you know what? That's what's awesome about these new ones.
What new innovations do you all have coming up? Do you have anything that you want to talk to somebody about or, get out to the public that you haven't on your social media network?
I do, but I can't say.
Oh, God.
That's proprietary. Say me.
Yeah.
Come on. How much proprietary?
So you're saying you got some stuff coming up that you don't want us to know?
We've got a product coming up, yes, that we're shooting, I hope. We're shooting for the trade show this year to introduce it there. So we can introduce at the trade show.
Okay.
And instantly, me being me, I'm like, you should go to him. And Luke's like, no. He's like, what? He gobbled in our face. He's coming. And I was like, you think? And then I told Caleb, sit down.
Sit down. Shut up.
I absolutely killed this turkey because of Luke. He said, sit down right now. So what did I do? I sat down right in the middle of the road. See, how did he hit the tree? He didn't get up. We didn't. I listened exactly what he said. I sat right down. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, exactly what you told me to do.
He's not exaggerating when he tells the story.
one of the things I want you to do is leave that membrane on the next time that you cook a rack of ribs, and you tell me what your experience is, because in, let's call it, the last 14 years, I've probably smoked, I'm gonna go out, you know what, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that me and or my team, and you guys know Mike, I mean, he's done a bunch, but even folks before him and since him, probably 40,000 pounds of ribs a year, and I hadn't skinned a one.
Seems like from Halloween on, it's been nonstop. For the past 2 weeks, it's been extremely busy, like above average busy.
Well, we also got in 16 deer last Monday that we had to cape. I mean, they were all legit bucks.
The biggest buck we brought in was 176 inches. But last Monday, everything was probably 120 to 176.
Me and my guitar player, he produced it, so we worked together a lot on that. Most of the songs I had wrote independently. Just recently getting into writing with other people. I got to go down to Nashville and write at Warner, and I got to write with some pretty big writers, and that was a big moment for me. And writing with other people, you get a perspective. Sometimes when you're writing by yourself, I'm that guy that needs somebody to tell me, like, that sucks. Like, that sucks. Don't do that. Do it this way.
Right, yes.
Because I just want honesty. So when you find people you can write with who are honest, That's the best for me. Like, I want you to just look at me and be like, nah, I don't like that sucks. You know?
Oh yeah, you've got a company right now, and add more every day. And the gentleman with and dog with the most recent recovery is Jeremy Zickapoose, who we got on the line right now.
Oh, good. Well, let's go ahead and hear from him. Yeah, let's go ahead and hear from him, Jeremy.
Well, where are you calling from today there, Jeremy?
I'm in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Okay.
Nice. But anywhere in the state of West Virginia, part of Ohio, and parts of PA.
Okay, so you do quite a bit of traveling then.
Anywhere they need me to go. You had a bear.
Oh no, I don't know what you mean. We don't have no bear here. I'm standing there. She's doing one of them, got the screen door cracked about 3 inches, where you can just see one eye, because she didn't want to. Well, but you could hear, the door was open. Well, the bear, I'll try to tell this quick as I can, the bear was in the basement.
Oh.
And they had carpet all over this house, had torn, this is a long time ago. I'm trying to recall every bit of the carpet out of the house for, obvious reasons. You keeping a bear in the house. They got him as a little cub, and by now he was probably about 100, I want to say over 100 pounds or bigger. Now,
do you find yourself not wanting to tackle that honey-do list at home or the dreaded home and business repairs and improvements? Let Jones Empire LLC, which is a locally owned and operated business from Charleston to Huntington, West Virginia. Jones Empire LLC is licensed and insured, servicing commercial and residential properties throughout the state of West Virginia. Jones Empire LLC offers junk removal, property cleaning, interior and exterior cleaning, paver, patios, small remodels, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree cutting, tree removal, demolition, tree thinning, stump removal, landscaping, painting and staining, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, and even small remodels. Jones Empire LLC also offers dump trailer services for all your hauling needs. Jones Empire LLC offers free estimates. Schedule your service today. Call or text 304-541-8934. Again, call Jones Empire LLC 304-541-8934. They also offer 24/7 emergency services. Call them today.